You are not aware of how depressed you are. That is something that has come to me so much this year. I've experienced bouts of depression. I've experienced chapters of depression this year. And I notice where I end up getting more depressed and where I end up getting, where I'm less depressed. And it's been very enlightening to be able to actually experience the highs and lows. Whether it's just me being human or me being ADHD, whatever it is, I've noticed in myself I'm able to experience depressed moments in my life, depressed chapters in my life. But the most interesting thing I found is that it sneaks up on you. And you may be living for years thinking you're completely fine, not realizing actually how depressed you are. I have people that are very close to me that are not even aware of how depressed they really are in life, because this is just how it's always been. They are a complete fish in water, not realizing all the water that's around them. And I have several key points to help make this a lot more tangible around seeing how depressed are you. When I started to look at a lens, through this lens, I realized, oh shit, I need to have a better relationship with myself. I need to address what's really going on here. I need to take a moment to plan out something for myself so I don't keep going down. Right off the bat, I'll just throw it out there for those that haven't got this insight yet. If you find yourself isolating, if you find yourself not talking to people, just in the same house, in the same apartment, you're going to slowly wither away. That's definitely, for me, what is the case. For me, I definitely adapt to whatever environment I'm in. So if I'm in an environment where there's nothing going on, then I'll become one that is doing a whole lot of nothing. Let me get to my points here. Neglecting self-care. Self-care is something that should be recharging your batteries. And if it's not recharging your batteries, then you might need to revisit the drawing board and to really contemplate and inquire into what really fills up the tank for you. Where do you actually get your energy from? This is an amazing thing that I think is massively overlooked, especially for the high achievers, but for everyone as well. We always talk about being more productive, being more this or that, getting more done, knocking those things off your to-do list. But how much are you scheduling in rest? And even asking yourself and contemplating deeply, what is rest? And why is it important? And getting to the realization that the great ones are masters of their work and rest cycles. It's not to say that you're going to start taking it easy. It just means putting gas in the tank so you can keep on going on that marathon in life. But let's talk about self-care. How those things that rejuvenate you, that you know are good for you, but you don't do it. You end up doing a much lower quality thing, whether it's chasing dopamine hits or eating poor food or staying up late, whatever it is, sleeping in, not following a schedule, not waking up at a certain time, not going to bed at a certain time, not having a morning routine, not having a night routine, neglecting that stuff. Notice, are you neglecting that kind of stuff in your life right now? How about when it comes to your focus? Now, this is a little bit different because a lot of times people, when we think of focus, it's like, hey, focus on your work. But it's like, that's your job or that's your school where they're just shoving things at you that you might not even not want to learn at all, but you just want to get the degree. So for me, when I say focus, I mean focusing on the things that are important to you. Focusing on your craft. Such that this is a thing that you genuinely want to focus on in your life. What is that for you? And notice, how much are you able to put a rep in every single day, to lay a brick every single day? Notice what that is for you. Are you able to put in that effort every single day, or are you struggling? Are you able to motivate? Are you able to lock in? Get in the zone? Get into flow state? Or are you struggling time and time again to get into that flow state? It could be just a lack of clarity on what you want to be doing. More often than not, that is the case. It's a lack of self-understanding that, yes, this is the thing I want to be doing. And yes, this is the thing I want to be surrendering to. And yes, I'm excited for how far I can go. I am curious for how far I can go. Then going back on isolation. Are you isolating yourself from others? Are you not allowing yourself to socialize as the human being that you are? We are social creatures. And even an introvert needs that time outside of the house, doing stuff. Talking to people. Maybe it's talking to intimate friends rather than just a bunch of random new people. Having connection with wherever you are in life. How much are you staying at home? This one hits pretty hard at home for me. I grew up as an individual that always stayed at home. I could not step outside for multiple days. And I had patterns of losing myself into YouTube and video games and what have you. If it was a distraction, I was doing that. And I didn't realize just how incapacitated I was precisely because of how efficient I was at distracting myself. But this level of incapacitation, this level of weakness starts to reveal itself when you actually try to get something done in your life that is emotionally difficult. Whether it be working out, or maybe you need to lose some weight, or maybe you want to learn how to focus. I very much grew up not being able to open a book and read it. And I've met people where it's like, yeah, dude, I just don't read physical books. That's the thing. I'm not going to do that. And I was like that too, where I could only do audiobooks. And then nowadays, I've finally trained myself to recognize the value of reading and to say well, my life path requires it, so I'm going to learn how to fall in love with that facet of reality. And just that journey of how willing am I to actually suffer and do what sucks, do something that sucks every day, like David Goggins would say. How much are you willing to challenge yourself? And with all these questions, notice how willing or unwilling you are, how much you're able to follow through and not follow through. And kind of question to yourself, like, is this a result of a feeling of depression? Is this a result of me not motivating to really put my all in on life? Do I feel trapped? What am I doing all this stuff for? Am I just on a hamster wheel of self-help habits? A lot of people can fall for that trap. Not having a vision, just doing stuff. They're like, I'm disciplining myself, but I don't know what for. And that's a key trap to avoid. If you're going to discipline yourself, be clear of what you're disciplining yourself for. And whatever it is for you, you know that when you're not doing well, what negative habits you get into. You start making poor food choices. You start making poor choices. Maybe starts online shopping more, or you're scrolling the TikTok or the YouTube Shorts or Instagram or Snapchat, whatever it is for you. You're scrolling. You're looking at those short videos. And to notice when you're doing that more frequently. I notice when I'm avoiding something in my life, when there's a truth I'm not owning, when I'm not willing to just sit and own the present moment, I will also be doing these kind of poor distraction behaviors where I'm just looking at whatever online. I want you to take a look at your self-talk. What is your self-talk like? That can be an extreme revealer of where you are or how depressed you are or how motivated you are in life. And if you don't quite know what your self-talk is like, challenge yourself and put yourself in situations where you're willing to fail and be rejected. Your self-talk will reveal itself quite sharply if you get rejected. That's what I've noticed. And also, are you always tired? How tired are you throughout your day? How much are you willing to do one more rep? How much are you willing to work out? How much are you willing to put in that time? How much interest do you even have in your craft? Like, for example, my craft is public speaking. And I enjoy practicing public speaking, learning about public speaking. I enjoy writing. I enjoy learning about all kinds of things of self-help. But there will be periods in my life where I'm not learning or practicing skills or anything of that sort. And I realized those moments in my life, I was more depressed than ever. And to use this whole list I'm talking about today as tools to help recognize signs of depression, recognize signs of, hey, I'm not really feeling too hot here. And once again, mentioning excessive distraction and self-soothing. I notice personally in my life, it's exactly at bedtime when it's peak distraction and self-soothing. Where it's like, I don't really want to have that bed routine. I don't really actually want to go and sleep and end my day. Because then the next day comes and you're kind of scared of that day. And there's a whole Gordian knot, like even just like fear of falling asleep and all that jazz. I've worked through so much in my life. And just overall general anxiety. I had like so much fear of the dark I had to work through. But also what I've noticed is at the end of the day, that negative feelings, those negative self-talks, they come in. How much did I actually do that day? And do I feel good enough that day? And then it gets reinforced into my subconscious before I sleep. And I realize, okay, that's the perfect time to meditate. Because that's the time to let it enter my consciousness and just feel it. Practice feeling into what you're avoiding to get rid of all these addictions of self-soothing. And you'll find that you'll be able to focus on much more positive things in your life when you're able to work through your addictions that are distracting you from fundamentally owning the truth of the present moment. And lastly, on this list here I've noticed when I am unwilling to meditate, that for me is a sign of a depressive behavior. And under my book, right? This whole list is just under my chalked up definition of where you are out of character. There's so many. I recently attended a suicide prevention workshop, and there was an infinite list of behaviors or things that happen in your life that make you more prone to suicide ideation, suicidal thoughts, suicidal behavior, suicidal attempts. You're eating too much, you're eating too little, you're exercising too much, you're exercising too little, you're not motivated to read, you're not motivated to go to school, you're not motivated to do this or that, or you're putting yourself into this, or you're completely into this addiction, shopping here, or dopamine fishing, or masturbation, or pornography, or whatever have you sort of addiction you're into. Whatever is the thing that you've been programmed to turn to keep yourself safe. Maybe it's isolating yourself from people. A lot of people have that, where you're not willing to go out and talk to people, and then you start to fester and you start to rot away more. And I've noticed what has snapped me out of so many behaviors, and really what has snapped me out the most in my life was making a decision to meditate for 20 minutes a day and just to sit and let myself suffer through that moment, to own that. I've noticed to be able to own the present moment. How much are you willing to own the present moment for yourself right now? And how much are you distracting yourself away from the present moment? In conclusion, take a good hard look at your motivations. How long are you able to motivate yourself to study? How consistently over the days, weeks, months, years? How much are you able to keep a consistent routine for yourself? How much are you able to manage your emotional systems? How much are you able to manage your negative behaviors of self-soothing? How much are you able to give yourself a positive recharging habit? How much are you able to recharge in a healthy way? You can even do a mind map on this with all these categories, and you can like rate each one, like how consistent am I with this, or how much do I actually love this, or how congruent am I with this? How motivated am I? Like, here's all the areas of my life: my fitness, my work, my school, my routines, my relationships, my social life, my dating life, my workout life, whatever it is. You list all these domains, and you do a self-assessment. You can make it out of 10, like how motivated am I? How engaged am I? How willing am I to wake up early? How do I have a goal right now? Do I have any goals that is currently contextualizing this present moment such that I actually know what I'm doing in the next 5 minutes? That's clarity. Real clarity, I love this definition, is knowing what you want to be doing within the next 5 minutes because you have all these goals, putting the present moment in a context to help focus you on becoming who you came here to be. Keep an eye out for yourself. Notice that you'll be able to notice you falling into a depression faster than others when you can check in on yourself. You know what your vices are. Make a list. One of my clients, so I do life coaching, and I asked one of my clients, what are your vices? And he listed them like, yeah, these are my top 4 vices here. And I'm like, okay. Notice when you increase your involvement with these vices, those are your barometers for how well you're coping, how much you're avoiding the present moment, and perhaps as well how depressed you are. And as well, you look at what are your positive habits. You can list those out. And you could say, okay, am I waking up on time? Do I have a goal? Am I feeding myself right? Am I working out? Am I reading? The habits that you know you need to be doing. And notice when those drop. And ask yourself, like, are these good signs for assessing if I'm falling into a dip of depression? In life, we're always going to be up in our ups and downs. And being able to catch ourselves on the downturn earlier will allow us to help readjust, rethink the situation, increase that self-love, increase that kindness to self, and use this as really an opportunity to help you understand yourself more. As much as it sucks to suffer through a rut, I've always come out, if I actually allowed myself to go through it and just experience it mindfully, and when I'm able to notice, bring myself back in the way I can, in the capacities I have now, I've always come out a little more wiser. So as the years went on, I've been able to get back on the horse faster and faster and faster. And you'll find that too in your self-improvement journey. You'll fall off the horse. And if you're not falling off the horse, you're not challenging yourself enough. You'll go on your ups and your downs. Life will throw you around, and you'll be building that resilience. And especially when you're in a low point in your life, remember that the high point is coming. That's something to always remember. This too shall pass. And to leave you with one last thing, What has saved me is being able to just sit in a meditation for 20 minutes and own the present moment. That has gotten me out of so much. Thank you for watching. See ya.